And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of MLB DFS Quick Hits, your Wednesday, April 21st edition. Hope everybody had a good Tuesday. It was a fun one around the diamond. Had some big pitching performances. Corbin Burns just continues to be an absolute monster on the mound. There's just no stopping that man right now. Can't wait to see his next start. It's much to see TV, but like Morton got the job done for us. Walker was doing great until he got squeezed in that situation. Overall, some good stuff on the diamond that we looked at. The bats were there, the D-backs showed up, but then the Rays went nuts, the Giants went nuts. It was some heavy stacks that just went crazy on a Tuesday, and it should happen again on a Wednesday because pitching is quite bleak. We have a 5-game early and a 7-game main slate. We're going to focus on the 7-game main slate on this podcast like we usually do, but I will briefly run through the 5-game slate, not position by position, but just brief thoughts on that. Before we do that, you can find me on Twitter at BDintric. If you can rate and review the podcast on iTunes, I would really appreciate it. It's all I ever ask. Do that. If you prefer to watch the podcast, it's on the RotoBaller YouTube channel. Subscribe to it, like, share, all that good stuff there. And you can find my written DFS content at rotoballer.com and some other work over at Fantasy DGens. If you want to get in the free Fantasy DGens Slack chat, just let me know. Give me your email. We'll slide you on in there. All right, the 5-game early slate we're talking about here, like Mad Max. You could use him against St. Louis. No problem with that. 10-7. We saw him come back and look really strong in his last time out. He'll give up some loud contact, but the strikeouts will be there. So Scherzer at 10-7s in play for you in his matchup. Urquidy and Coors. They've just been so bad, the Rockies right now. So if you want to go Urquidy at 8K, I don't hate it. I'm not in love with it, but I can definitely see the argument to be made there with Urquidy at 8K. You got Kenta Maeda against the A's at 74. Getaway day. If you need someone cheap, you can go that direction. And that's about all I got. Like I'm tempted to use Gomber at 59 in Coors against Houston, but I'm saving Gomber for next week. But if you want to just totally punt it and go YOLO, you could. But for now, it's like Scherzer, Urquidy, Maeda. Those are the main guys I'm looking at on this slate. It's an ugly pitching slate, and if you think this is bad, the 7-game main slate gets worse. If you're looking to stack things up, though, you can go Houston versus Gomber if you want. But like, give me Washington versus Carlos Martinez. We continue to attack Carlos Martinez. We will continue to attack it. The only downside is no Juan Soto. He's on the IL now. He was a late scratch right before game time on Tuesday. That hurts tremendously. So that might give you an argument to play Carlos Martinez, but I'm not there. So Washington is still a stack versus Carlos Martinez. You can go that route. Texas versus Jose Quintana, very intriguing. Like guys like Nick Solak. Gallo has power versus lefties. Adolis Garcia, a very, very strong play in the middle of the order with some value. So you got some Texas players you can look at. Minnesota's ice cold, so Frankie Montas could be an option. He's just been rough, but Minnesota, missed all those games with COVID. They just played a doubleheader on Tuesday, shut out in both games by the A's. So that's an interesting angle. And then San Diego versus Hauser. Tatis and Machado got Tuesday off. I got no problem attacking Hauser. So for me, if I'm looking at things, it's San Diego, it's Texas, it's Washington. Those are my main looks at this point in time with some Scherzer, Urquidy, and Maeda. So it's a rough pitching slate. Like if you want to just punt and go Gomber, I don't hate it. I really don't at $5,900. I could see the appeal there. But overall, not the greatest of slates. This whole day is a rough makeup of fantasy baseball. Let's get in to that 7-game main slate for you on a Wednesday. We only have 3 totals so far because there's so many pitching questions. Braves, Yankees, total of 9. D-backs, Reds, total of 8.5. My bad, we have 2 because we don't get Wrigley, of course. So we have 2 totals to go off of out of the 7 games. The other concern, weather. Watch the weather. Chicago at Cleveland. And the slate starts at 6:10 Eastern. So 3:10 Pacific. We started at 6:30 Eastern on Tuesday. Usually we start like 4:05, 4:10 Eastern. Starting at 6:10 Eastern on a Wednesday. So keep that in mind. Chicago, Cleveland, 5% chance to rain. Wind blowing in from left field about 12 miles an hour. That's intriguing. Atlanta, New York, wind blowing out to right field at about 16 miles an hour. Rain peters off as the night goes on, so maybe a late start. No problems there, hopefully. So that could be a nice, fun one to attack. D-backs, Reds, probably going to finish their game from Tuesday before they play this game on Wednesday. A little bit of wind blowing out, but 18 to 20% or 15 to 20% chance of rain. Eventually that peters off as the night goes on, so we'll have to see what they want to do there. Blue Jays, Red Sox, wind blowing out to right center field at 15 miles an hour. Big fan of this game. Problem is, so is the rain. 50 to 70% chances of rain. So that just does not look good. And it's massively a bummer. Big time bummer in this one. Mets, Cubs, You had about 5-10% chance to rain. Nothing too crazy there. Rays, Kansas City looks good. So mainly the rain situation in Boston with heavy wind. You have heavy wind in New York. Hopefully a late start. We're good there. And then wind blowing in Cleveland. So 2 heavy rain places, a couple scattered showers in other places. Keep an eye on it. It's going to be a doozy, folks. Absolute doozy. So let's talk about the pitching on this slate. You have Aaron Savali at 10-1. He's the high-priced guy on both slates. It sums up the slate. He is the best pitcher on the slate probably, and he's getting the price bump at 10-1. I don't like targeting the White Sox too often. They had a big game against Plesac, but hey, who hasn't had a big game against Plesac, not named the Detroit Tigers? So that's something to think about as well. But the Savali at 10-1, I'm going to go on board because the slate dictates it. We've been paying in the mid-7s for him most of the year, low 8s. We're going to have to go up on him. And if you want that kind of solid floor with upside, Savali's at 10-1. You can go Tyler Mahle at 95. I don't hate it. The thing with Mahle, it's frustrating. No more than 5 innings. He relies heavily on the strikeouts. His pitch count's not that high either. So he's got to be super efficient. And this Arizona team's been hitting a little better. You can get to them. There's no questioning it. But if Mahle's off at all, lefties pound him in the past. He's been great this year, but in the past, lefties destroy Tyler Mahle. So just keep that in mind. Don't mind Mahle at 95 in a tournament. Savali, I'll play in cash and tournaments as well. He's my preference of the 2. Going down a little more, Ian Anderson at $8,400 at the New York Yankees. Similar to the Morton conversation yesterday, strikeouts are to be had. Morton was outstanding in his 6 innings. You got Anderson. He's gone 5 innings in every start. He up to 98 pitches his last outing, which is great to see. He had 4 walks. That's what made him leave early. We got at least 6 strikeouts in every start. His last 2 starts, 3 runs and 4 runs. Not great, but he's $8,400. Maybe he limits the walks a little more, gets you 6 innings, gets you 6+ strikeouts. We can live with that at $8,400, especially on this slate. So I'm going to go back to attacking the New York Yankees. Ian Anderson at 84. Sign me up. Keep an eye on the Pittsburgh-Detroit situation. It's game 2 of the double dip. It's not on the FanDuel main slate. 7-inning game. Mitch Keller's supposed to pitch at 77. He's a very hot and cold pitcher. Great matchup against Detroit if you want to go there on this slate. I'm fine with that. Probably not going to myself. I'd rather go to Anderson, a little more expensive, or drop down to David Peterson at $7,100 at the Chicago Cubs. Peterson should be popular after coming off 6 innings, 1 earned, 10 Ks against the Philadelphia Phillies after getting shelled by the Phillies. He's a guy that we've seen a lot of good and a lot of bad. Usually it's more good than bad. He just limits the hard contact, doesn't get a lot of strikeouts, so the fantasy points aren't super high. But he struck out 10, and that's telling you he's done something different. The pitch mix seems like it's a little different from 2020. So he's definitely a guy to continue to monitor in his situation. And at $7,100, there's definitely appeal to David Peterson. This could be chalky. Just keep that in mind, but definitely appeal. I'm going to punt with Jacob Jonas at 64. I wrote him up in the values column at RotoBaller. It's a premium article, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. You have to be a subscriber there. Use promo code Bubba if you want to get in. They'll get you a discount. But Jonas at 64, I'm going to keep taking the bait. I know he's our batting practice pitcher in years past. Massive pitch mix change. He used a heavy slider, fastball with a little bit of sinker combo in the past. He ditched the slider completely. Barely ever uses the sinker anymore. He's pretty much a heavy fastball cutter. He added the cutter. The cutter has a batting average below 100, an XBA of about 130, an xWOBA of 258, a whiff rate of almost 56%. The cutter has been outstanding, and that's been the game changer for him so far. Tampa Bay scored 14 runs on Tuesday. I love the Tampa Bay offense. It's a very inconsistent offense. Jacob Jonas, we could say he's an inconsistent pitcher. It's only been 2 starts, 5 innings in both starts, but he's been outstanding. He's getting strikeouts. He's $6,400 on a bad slate for pitching. I'll jump on board. I could pair up Jonas with Anderson. I could pair him with Savali, Mahle, or even Peterson if I want, get all the bats I want. So I'll take the Jonas bait. We'll go to battle. We'll see what happens. So Savali up top. You can go Mahle in a tournament. I get it. But give me Savali up top in cash in tournaments. I like some Ian Anderson, same reasons we like Morton last night. And then you could look at Peterson and Jacob Jonas. Big fan of what Jonas is doing. And I'm going to keep riding with that. Even if he struggles this time, it's just if he stays this cheap, we know the upside. I think we're going to like what we see from him. Let's look at the bats on this 7-game slate. We're going to have a quickie tonight, folks. Catcher's position on this one, Christian Vasquez. We love Boston. Please, rain change, forecast change. The scary thing is these teams are AL West teams. They could play a ton more in the future. So doubleheaders would not be an issue for these teams. So hopefully if they do call it, they call it early. But Vasquez at 49 versus K, Really strong spot there. Don't mind Wilson Contreras versus Peterson if you're not going to use Peterson at his price point at 4,600. But sliding on down, you could look at Tucker Barnhart. I love Cincinnati versus Merrill Kelly. Lefties can get to Merrill Kelly. Merrill Kelly is very, very hittable. The year has not started out well for Merrill Kelly. So Barnhart at 39, very good catcher play in his situation. Doubleheader Pittsburgh and Detroit. You might get backup catchers, so keep an eye on that. So I'll give you a little bit of a discount potentially in their matchups. If you're not using Jacob Jonas, Francisco Mejia at 34 is definitely worth a look. Zunino caught on Tuesday, went deep. So it should be Mejia's turn. He'll be cheap. Alejandro Kirk at 32. Love targeting that game. Toronto against Richards, Boston versus K. Both sides very, very live in this one. So Kirk at 32, another potential value. So you got a couple guys down there, but it's pretty much that Barnhart's kind of where I'm looking right now. We'll kind of see what else shakes out in lineups. Maybe Plawecki gets to start for Boston for 3,600. Nice little discount compared to the expensive 49 of Vasquez, stuff like that. First base position, love me some Freddy Freeman tonight at $5,900. Lefties against Kluber, short porch and right, wind blowing out heavy to right. Kluber just dust. He's getting old, just doesn't have it anymore. Freddy Freeman at 59 is outstanding. You can make your arguments for Vladito, never a problem with that, but give me Freddie at 59. I think he does find the bleachers or whatever they want to call them. Put him in judges' chambers over there in right field. I think that's an option. Freddie Freeman at 5,900. Arroyo had a big day. I'm trying not to target Savali, but it's similar to the conversation we had on Tuesday. Savali should be extremely popular. If you want to stack the White Sox, go for it. Like if you want to make one lineup with a White Sox stack just to cover your rear end, do it. Just like we did the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks one worked out pretty well until the Giants and the Rays just went off on the bullpens of the opposing teams. But so the White Sox in that angle, but I'm not going to be forcibly doing that. I think Joey Votto at 45, serious appeal. The dude's hard hit rates, his X stats, everything are outstanding this year, and he's starting to hit over the weekend. Really good spot here versus Merrill Kelly at 4,500. So give him a peek as well. A few other ones if you're going to get cheaper. Colin Moran versus Turnbull. It's going to be Turnbull opening for about 75 to 80 pitches. Then Skubal, 7-inning game as well, but Moran at 38. Phillip Evans at 37. Don't mind either of those. But some of the savings I really like. Again, it goes back to the Boston situation. Give me some Bobby Dahlback at $3,500. Had a big RBI triple. He's hit safely in 6 of his last 8 games, hitting almost 400 over that stretch with a near 70% hard hit rate, over a 30% barrel rate. The dude is crushing baseballs. And then versus lefties last season, he had 296, which is overall batting average, outstanding. An ISO of almost 500 and a home run to fly ball rate of 33% for his left-handed pitching. Bobby Dahlback, we know, can go 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts on any given day. He can also break a slate with double or triple dongs. I love Bobby D against K on Wednesday. So give me Bobby D at 35 as a value play. Expect a 0 or like a 29. Like you're going to get one or the other. So if you don't want that volatility in your lineup, do not play Bobby D. And do not play Bobby D in a cash lineup, please. He's strictly a tournament play because he also hits towards the bottom of that Red Sox order. And we'll talk about some more value, and maybe it's a way to be different in a very popular Red Sox stack that they'll want to play JD and Devers and Xander and Vasquez. You can get Bobby D and some of his teammates we'll talk about down below. So keep that in mind. Rowdy Tellez, another value at $3K. I like quite a bit against Richards. He's a way to have some fun as well in this Boston-Toronto game at a discount if you're not playing Bobby Dahlback. Second base, you always got Witt at 44. Ozzie Albies at 48. Both are in play, but like you got Escobar at 44. Finally getting that price bump. That's good to see. If you're not using Jacob Jonas, you got Brandon Lau at 43. Don't hate it. But I think at the second base position, I might just save some cash tonight and slide on down. Adam Frazier at 38 is not a bad value. Marvin Gonzalez usually hitting actually towards like the 6th spot or so. And the Boston lineup at 35, you could pair him with Bobby Dahlback possibly. Something to think about. See if Johnny VR is in the Mets lineup. He's 3,100 against Zach Davies. Nick Madrigal at 3K in a cash lineup, sure. Ruben Odor in a tournament at 28, sure. If you want to go those directions, you can. A couple other things I want to mention when you look at this. Harold Castro is getting some starts lately for Detroit. He's 2,400 if you're looking for an uber punt. I'm not saying lock him in immediately because the guy you're going to lock in, especially if he's leading off again, is Ari Adrianza. He's second base, third base eligible. He's $2,100. He's 24 on FanDuel, still very cheap, but he's 21 on DraftKings. He was 2K on Tuesday. We talked about it in the Slack chat. Boom, got him in. Got a nice RBI double. He's started the last 3 or 4 games. He was hitting sixth in most of those. He led off with Acuna out tonight. Acuna's first game missed. Adrianza leading off. Let's hope that continues on Wednesday. I'll go right back to that well. Second base, third base eligible. He's cash game viable. If he's leading off, he's tournament viable pretty much no matter where he hits. But if he's leading off or batting second, I'll even say he's cash game viable. So Adrianza at 21, sign me up. Third base position, Devers versus lefty does not scare me, but I love J-Ram versus Stever. White Sox are calling up a youngster from the alt site. J-Ram at 51. He's making the Lance Lynn start, by the way. J-Ram at 5,100. I can definitely get on board there. He has been starting to heat up 7, 14, 10, 7, 21 over his last 5 games. Put him in this sweet situation. Give me some J-Ram at 51. Chris Bryant, if you aren't using Peterson, Bryant's swinging a very hot stick. He's 4,500. Don't hate that. Joey Wendell at 42 as well, hitting really good. Third base shortstop eligible. For the Rays, Phillip Evans at 37 cracks the code. If you're not using Anderson, Urshela's slowly getting it going. He's 35. Not a must play, but he's slowly getting it going. Hunter Dozier as well at 32. Been talking about him just being cheap. 4 more points tonight. He's you can feel it starting to come. Maybe you wait a little longer before you trust it and play it, but keep an eye on him. And then Kyle Farmer, third base shortstop eligible, went deep on Tuesday for the Reds. He's 28 hundo. He got the spot start. We'll see if he's playing on Wednesday because Moustakas got scratched and put on the IL. So you got Kyle Farmer at 28 as an option for you as well. Some cheaper values for you there. And then again, Adrianza, $2,100. So second base, third base for Adrianza. Make sure he's in one of the 2 spots for you. That'd be great. Shortstop position, you got Bo Bichette. He went deep on Tuesday. Don't mind him again at 58. Same with Bogarts. They both went deep. Bogarts 55. Both phenomenal plays. Zero problem either way. But I think Eugenio Suarez at 53 is very enticing because most people are going to go lefties versus Kelly, and rightfully so. But Suarez hitting cleanup at $5,300. He's got some history against Kelly taking him deep. Don't hate that at all. Tim Anderson's on fire right now. He is facing Savali, but he's been on fire if you want to go there. He might have some cash upside actually, but shortstop as usual is very, very top heavy. Lindor at 46, great price point. He's got to get going eventually. You'd hope so. Andres Jimenez, I will play him the days he leads off, not so much the days he doesn't. He's facing Stever. He's $4,300. Very, very enticing. He's showing some power of late, showing some speed of late. Definitely someone to keep on your radar. I mentioned Joey Wendell at 42 a second ago. So some nice options on the top end of things. Cheaper down, it's really tough. Like maybe Nico Goodrum if you need him. There's not a ton down. Like Kyle Farmer, I mentioned him at $2,800. Not in love with Kyle Farmer, though. It's just he's there if you need him. You're pretty much paying up at shortstop for the most part, at least 4K or above type stuff. Outfield position, JD Martinez versus a lefty at 61. Sure. Yes, please. Thank you. We can definitely go there. Tyler Naquin keeps hitting. He's $5,100. That price tag is just egregious for a guy like Tyler Naquin, but he's proven us wrong. So you just ride that wave while you can. Basically all I can say. Don't mind that. Eddie Rosario, I love it. $4,600 against Stever. Really a big fan of Eddie R with J Ram and company. You can go there. Winker at 45 leading off versus Merrill Kelly. Great look there as well. We talked about in the Slack chat. Recent winners, we talked about the stacks that have been winning tournaments lately. Also, if you look at a lot of the value that's been played, it's been in the outfield. The winning lineup on Monday night and the optimal lineup from Monday night they each had, I believe, 3 outfielders under $3,000. I believe on Tuesday night I had lineups with 3 under 300, all had double-digit points. With Pavin Smith, Cole Calhoun, and DJ Stewart. So there's a lot of value in the outfield right now. So you keep that in mind as you build lineups. It's not a must. None of these are a must. It's baseball. But just keep that in mind when you're trying to differentiate things in your lineup. A few other outfielders to talk about. Verdugo versus lefty. Love it. He is very good against lefties. He's hitting everything right now. He's 41 hundo. Keep him on your radar. Meadows went Tuesday. So he's going to start heating up. We'll see. Jordan Luplow at 4K. We love Rosario. We love J-Ram. Put Luplow in your stack. People like to pull Luplow just against lefties. So I hate to break it to you. He's hitting righties now too, folks. I think 3 or 4 of his last 4 or 5 home runs have been against righties, including one on Tuesday. So keep an eye on Luplow at 4K. He'll probably get overlooked in the stack. Kiki Hernandez at 39. Great piece of action there for Boston against a lefty. Brian Reynolds swinging it well. Brandon Nimmo. good looks as well. Pavin Smith leading off at 35. Got a price bump, still worth. They got 3 hits on Tuesday, so you can go his direction. Jorge Soler in tournaments, maybe. Hunter Renfroe at 33 versus lefty. We love to sign up for that. Aaron Hicks is ice cold, but $3,300. If they keep putting him in the middle of that Yankees order, tough to ignore. Very tough to ignore. A few other ones here. Gregory Polanco in tournaments. It is a 7-inning game, though, so be careful. Benintendi at 31, I do like against Michael Wacha because we can target Wacha a lot. Benintendi 0 for 3 with a walk and a run scored on Tuesday. But if you're stacking up KC, he's 31 hundo. Keep him on your radar. Love us some Cole Calhoun at 3K. He had a nice game on Tuesday, a couple doubles and whatnot. Another guy for Cleveland, if you're stacking up and you want a cheapie, Josh Naylor's $3,000. Slowly getting it going. 11 more points on Tuesday, 11-0 to 11-5 over his last 5. Slowly getting it going, hitting safely in 3 of his last 5. But like his hard hit rate and everything, very, very productive. So the hits are going to keep it coming soon for Naylor at 3K. We got Margot at 29 as a value once again. Heredia of Atlanta at 26. So there's definitely some down here. See what kind of pops up with lineups. You'll get some more there. And then the one other player to pair up with Bobby Dahlback, there's other ones we've mentioned, obviously, but Christian Arroyo's 3K at second base. I forgot to mention him. He's 3K at second base. If you want to use it, Adrian's at third, Arroyo at second, whatever you want to do. But Arroyo's 3K, and he is really swinging it well. 13 points on Tuesday, 13, 3, 7, 14, 0, 10, 12. He's hit safely in 8 of his last 9 games. He's $3,000 in a great matchup versus K. No problem at all with Christian Arroyo in this matchup. That's how you can do the Bobby Dahlback Arroyo. You can bring it back around if you want with some Kike and Verdugo. Whatever you want. You can make it different. Have some fun with Boston. So that'll be one stack. They're all like the whole lineup's in place. So see what comes out. See how you can mix and match. See how you can be different. Ask questions in the Slack chat. Whatever you prefer. All right, recapping your pitching real quick on this slate. Savali up top. You could go Molly if you want. I get it. Ian Anderson, Peterson, Jonas. That's where my focus is. I think Savali, Jonas, even in cash. That might be the combo I go with. Boston versus K. Watch the weather. Toronto versus Richards. Watch the weather. But Boston's my favorite. Love Cleveland versus Stever. Cincinnati versus Kelly. I love a ton. Then I think Atlanta versus Kluber is nice contrary as well. So way to go about it. Tons and tons of ways. Check it all out. Hit me up on Twitter if you have any questions. At BDentric. Join the free fantasy DJ and Slack chat as well. All that good stuff. Check out the podcast on iTunes. Give it a rating and review. It's on all your listening platforms. So give it a rate and review on iTunes. Also, if you'd like to watch it, go to rotoballer.com on the RotoBaller YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff there. But for now, this was MLB DFS Quick Hits, your Wednesday, April 21st edition. I'm out.